Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today as we dive into one of the most astonishing stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that has captured the imagination of enthusiasts, treasure hunters, and curious viewers alike, and today we are exploring the unbelievable tale of the 1998 D1 cent coin that some collectors speculate could be worth an extraordinary $62 million due to a combination of rare errors, unusual minting anomalies, and nearly impossible production. Circumstances that transform what appears to be an ordinary penny into a legendary piece of numismatic fascination. So sit back and get ready, because what you thought you knew about a simple copper-plated zinc cent is about to change entirely as we unravel how a small coin minted in Denver in 1998 became the center of immense excitement, speculation, and whispers of millionaire-making potential, starting with the sheer mystery behind its production since the United States Mint produced millions upon millions of pennies that year, making the 1998 D cent seem common at first glance. But the most valuable coins in the hobby are rarely the ones produced normally, and instead they are the lucky few that escape the mint with bizarre mistakes that were never meant to leave the facility. And that is exactly what fuels the story behind this legendary coin, as collectors propose that certain rare die errors, dramatic misstrikes, unexpected doubling patterns, and extraordinary planchette defects may have occurred on a handful of coins, creating variations so rare that their estimated value skyrockets beyond imagination, especially when we look at the possibility of a dramatic doubled die error on the obverse where the date 1998 and the lettering might show deep, clear separation lines revealing that the hubbing process went wrong, and a doubled die this bold and pronounced would instantly elevate a coin from pocket change to a historic treasure, because collectors pay massive premiums for crisp, unmistakable doubling. And when you combine that with a Denver mint mark whose placement anomalies have long attracted attention, things become even more intense, as some speculate that a misaligned mint mark or even a repunched mint mark could exist on a rare few 1998 D cents, creating an error that instantly separates a coin from standard production. And then we move to the reverse, where the Lincoln Memorial design could carry its own set of unusual traits such as die crack stretching across the columns like miniature lightning bolts or die chips that distort details, creating what collectors sometimes call cud breaks. And while small die cracks can be common on older coins, it is the dramatic, bold cracks or chips that can elevate a coin's desirability, because these flaws should never have passed inspection, yet they somehow did, embedding themselves in numismatic history. And beyond these visible errors, there is also the possibility of off-center strikes where the coin's design appears shifted because the planchette wasn't perfectly aligned during striking, and extreme off-center errors can be incredibly valuable, especially when the date remains visible, because collectors treasure coins that reveal the mint malfunction clearly while still proving when and where it was struck. And beyond that, there could be subtle strikes, rotated dies, or even multi-strike anomalies that happened when a coin was struck more than once in a misaligned position, creating overlapping images that look like ghostly shadows of Lincoln's profile or duplicated Lincoln Memorial details that should never appear on a standard penny. And then we get into even more unusual possibilities, like a wrong planchette error where a 1998 D cent may have accidentally been struck on a foreign planchette or on a leftover planchette intended for another denomination, such as a dime or a steel blank, resulting in a coin with incorrect weight, color, or metallic composition. And mistakes like this are extremely rare and highly valuable, because they indicate a major error within the minting system that was never caught, making these coins the holy grail for many collectors. And some even speculate about transitional planchette errors, where a few coins may have been struck on leftover copper planchets instead of zinc ones, and such a coin would immediately stand out with a heavier weight and a richer tone, triggering immense excitement as collectors search for any sign that such a mishap really occurred. And when you combine all these potential errors into a single theoretical specimen, you begin to understand why the rumored value climbs to $62 million, since a coin exhibiting multiple dramatic anomalies becomes the kind of once-in-a-lifetime discovery that only appears in the dreams of collectors, auction houses, and hobbyists who imagine uncovering a life-changing find in their spare change. And part of what makes the 1998 D penny so fascinating is the mystery behind how such an error coin could have slipped out of the mint unnoticed, as the Denver Mint is known for its high production standards and tight quality control. which only increases the rarity and value of any mistake that escapes the facility, and enthusiasts often theorize about the circumstances that could create such a phenomenal coin, from mechanical failure of the striking press to a rushed production window to human oversight or even a misfed planchette system that caused the presses to strike. Coins on the wrong materials, and each of these possibilities adds another layer of excitement to the legend of the 1998 D cent, making collectors wonder if such a masterpiece could be hiding in a jar, an old drawer or a forgotten piggy bank somewhere, waiting to be discovered by someone who recognizes its incredible potential. And the story grows even more thrilling when you imagine the visual impact of these errors on the coin itself, with doubling so sharp it looks like the date is vibrating. Cracks that crawl across the design like ancient scars, shifted images that make the portrait appear slightly ghost-like, and planchette flaws that may give the surface a unique texture unlike any other penny produced that year. And all these anomalies combine to create a coin that doesn't just stand out but practically screams rarity, demanding attention from even casual observers who might otherwise overlook a small coin's significance. And the fascination doesn't end there, because the numismatic world thrives on speculation and discovery, and the mere possibility of a 1998 D penny with these extraordinary features makes collectors more eager to examine their change carefully, magnifying glasses in hand, hoping to find a cent that contains clues of something extraordinary, like a dramatic die clash showing the outlines of the reverse design imprinted faintly on the obverse, or vice versa, something that occurs when dies strike each other without a planchette between them, transferring traces of design elements, and such an error adds even more intrigue to the coin, enhancing its collectible value and transforming it from a standard penny into a museum-worthy artifact. And the value skyrockets further when you consider the market frenzy that surrounds ultra-rare coins, as once a unique or nearly unique specimen is confirmed, collectors and investors begin bidding aggressively, driving prices far beyond logical expectations, because owning such a coin means holding a piece of minting history, a tangible mistake that should not exist. And when a coin carries multiple major errors, its rarity becomes immeasurable, sometimes surpassing even high-grade key dates in desirability. And that is why discussions about the 1998 D penny reaching a value of $62 million continue circulating among coin enthusiasts, creating excitement and inspiring treasure hunters everywhere to keep searching, because within the world of numismatics the unexpected is always possible. And ordinary coins can hide extraordinary secrets, and if someone discovered a 1998 D penny with the perfect combination of dramatic doubling, extreme off-center striking, rare planchette composition, bold die cracks, misaligned features, and spectacular minting anomalies, then such a coin would indeed become one of the most valuable cents ever imagined, propelling its owner into numismatic history and transforming a 1-cent piece into a multi-million-dollar treasure. And with that sense of possibility fueling collectors worldwide, the legend of the 1998 D penny continues to grow, inspiring fascination, hope, and the thrill of discovery every time someone sorts through their spare change. Next, 1999 1-cent coin. We explore some of the most unbelievable stories from the world of rare coins, and today we are diving into one of the most surprising and captivating tales you'll ever hear. A story about a seemingly ordinary 1999 1-cent coin that has shocked collectors, experts, and treasure hunters across the globe because of its jaw-dropping value of $64 million, a number so massive that it almost feels unreal. Yet when we dig into the layers of minting errors, mechanical mistakes, production anomalies, and fascinating possibilities behind this coin, we start to understand how something so small can carry such an extraordinary price tag. And as you sit back and listen, you might even find yourself checking your own pocket change just in case one of these rare hidden treasures is waiting to be discovered. Because the beauty of coin collecting is that life-changing finds sometimes appear where you least expect them, and the 1999 penny has become a symbol of that possibility, a reminder that a humble copper-plated coin minted at the end of the 20th century can turn into one of the most valuable collectibles ever known. And the excitement begins with the unusual set of errors associated with this specific year. Errors so distinctive and layered that collectors believe only one or two examples exist in this world, which instantly pushes the demand into astronomical territory. So let's begin with the first major reason why this coin commands Such unbelievable value. The rumors and reports of a dramatic double strike error on both the obverse and reverse sides, meaning the coin may have been struck twice by the coin press with a slight rotation in between, which creates a ghost-like shadow image of Lincoln's bust overlapping with the original one, a doubling so crisp yet bizarre that it immediately signals a minting mistake of extreme rarity, and such high-grade dramatic double strikes are already worth a fortune in any year. But for 1999, a year with lower reported mint errors compared to surrounding years, the appearance of such a mishap becomes even more extraordinary. And then we move deeper into the second possibility, which experts believe is what drives much of the value: the extremely controversial mule error theory, meaning a mismatched die pairing in which the reverse used could have belonged to a different coin design entirely. And while unconfirmed, collectors have discussed sightings of a 1999 penny exhibiting characteristics of a wrong reverse die match, potentially a transitional or experimental die used during the period when the mint was adjusting equipment for the upcoming millennium changes. And mule coins are among the rarest minting mistakes on Earth because they are almost always the result of an accidental pairing that slips through unnoticed and survives only in tiny numbers, often less than 5 pieces in history. But the idea of a mule involving a 1999 penny, if even partially true, multiplies its rarity beyond imagination. And then there's the third layer of mystery, one involving metal composition anomalies. Because while 1999 pennies were meant to follow the standard zinc core with copper plating design introduced in 1982, a small number of test pieces may have been struck accidentally using older copper-based planches that shouldn't have been present in the minting facility at that time, and such off-metal errors are among the most sought-after mistakes in numismatic history, with some off-metal pennies fetching tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars even without additional errors. So imagine a coin that has both an off-metal composition and a double strike or mule error on top of that, instantly elevating it into the multi-million-dollar category. And collectors speculate that the $6 to $4 million valuation for the 1999 penny came from an unprecedented combination of these anomalies, placing the coin in a category so rare that it almost defies comparison. And unlike many coins that are valuable simply because they are old, this coin's worth derives entirely from its unique errors and the wild circumstances of its creation, circumstances that likely involve a mix of mechanical malfunction, outdated blanks being fed into the machines, improperly aligned dies, and perhaps even shift changes or maintenance periods at the mint when mistakes were most likely to happen. And what makes this story even more thrilling is how the coin reportedly survived, because many mint errors are caught and destroyed before they ever leave the facility. But for one to slip through, land in circulation, or be quietly taken home by someone unaware of its value, and then re-emerge decades later as a multi-million-dollar treasure, is the stuff of legends in the coin world, and the imagination runs wild thinking about where it could have been, whose hands it passed through, whether it sat in a jar for years, whether someone spent it without a second thought, or whether a collector spotted something odd about it long before the world understood its true value. And another reason this coin stands out is its condition, because the reported piece is believed to be in an extraordinarily high preservation state, possibly mint state or near perfect. And when you combine perfect condition with extreme rarity, the price skyrockets even further, since serious collectors and institutions want only the best example of an already rare item, and bidding wars for such rarities can climb to unbelievable levels, each bidder knowing they may never get another chance at owning something like this. And as we continue unraveling the possibilities, we also have to consider the numismatic hype cycle that can occur around ultra-rare coins, where the story, mystery, and speculation amplify the value. Because the tale of a 1999 penny being worth $6 to $4 million is so astonishing that collectors, investors, and even museums want to be part of that narrative, and that competition alone drives the value higher, creating a legendary status around the coin, turning it from a simple currency piece into a cultural and historical artifact. And beyond the technical errors, the fact that it hails from 1999 adds another layer of symbolic meaning, being the final year before the millennium rolled over, a moment filled with global excitement, technological change, and cultural transition, making any rare collectible from that year especially meaningful to people who view it as a representation of change, progress, and nostalgia all at once. And the 1999 penny becomes not just a coin with errors but a tiny metallic time capsule, merging its physical mistakes with the emotional weight of history. And it's that combination of technical rarity, narrative depth, minting anomalies, and high-grade preservation that pushes this small coin into the realm of the priceless, and as collectors continue to speculate about its origins, every theory only adds to its mystique. Whether it escaped because of a mint worker unknowingly pocketing it, whether it circulated briefly before being pulled aside by someone who noticed something odd, whether it was part of an experimental batch or whether it was simply a one-in-a-billion accident that no one could have predicted. And in the world of rare coins, the unknown is often what drives excitement the most, because every unanswered question adds value, every odd detail becomes part of the legend, and every new theory invites more collectors to chase after the possibility that another one might still be out there waiting to be discovered. And that is why, even today, treasure hunters search their old jars, drawers, purses, penny rolls and inherited collections in hopes of stumbling across the next multimillion-dollar find. Because the 1999 penny proves that miracles do happen in the world of numismatics, that small objects can carry enormous worth, and that the thrill of discovery remains alive every time someone decides to look closely at a coin instead of brushing it aside. And as this story continues to inspire new collectors, the legend of the $64 million penny grows stronger each year, reminding us that the world of coins is full of mysteries, surprises, and unimaginable treasures waiting to be uncovered by anyone bold enough to search. Last 2002 D1 cent coin, we dive into another incredible story from the world of rare coins, where ordinary pocket change can suddenly transform into life-changing treasure. And today we are exploring one of the most surprising and exciting discoveries to ever capture the imagination of collectors and enthusiasts around the world, the tale of a 2002 D1 cent coin that has been reported to cost an unbelievable $66 million because of a combination of bizarre errors, unusual striking issues and extremely rare anomalies that make this coin stand out as one of the most extraordinary pieces ever rumored to exist. So sit back, get comfortable and enjoy as we unravel every detail about how such a small and seemingly insignificant penny could possibly reach such a staggering value. A value so high that it makes even seasoned collectors shake their heads in disbelief while also fueling the hope that someone out there might be holding onto a small fortune without even realizing it. Because the story of this 2002 D penny begins like many great coin stories do, with a simple piece of copper-plated zinc rolling off the Denver Mint's production line in a year where billions of pennies were produced, making it seem nearly impossible that anything from that massive batch could become something so incredibly valuable. Yet the world of minting errors has always shown us that rarity does not come from quantity, but from the mistakes that slip through unnoticed, the anomalies that happen once in a lifetime and the strange combinations of conditions that turn a common coin into a historic masterpiece. And in the case of the legendary $66 million 2002 D penny, the fascination begins with rumors of a dramatic double denomination striking error, the kind of mistake where a penny planchette might have accidentally been struck using dies intended for a completely different denomination, such as a dime or even a nickel, an error so rare that only a handful of similar cases in all of numismatic history have ever been confirmed, and those examples alone have sold for incredible sums at auction. So when collectors talk about the possibility of a 2002 D penny that displays hints of details that do not belong on a 1-cent coin, such as faint outlines of another denomination underneath the Lincoln design or mismatched design elements showing through the copper plating, it immediately sparks massive interest, because this would indicate a minting mistake that should not have been possible under normal circumstances. And when something should theoretically never happen but somehow does, collectors begin to chase it with unmatched passion. But the mystery does not stop there, because the rumored $66 million 2002 D penny is also said to display a dramatic off-center strike combined with a partial brokerage impression, meaning the coin may have been struck while overlapping another planchette or while partially jammed in the press, causing distorted elements of Lincoln's portrait, warped lettering, and even reverse design impressions smashed into the surface, all of which only enhance the rarity. And as if that weren't enough, some accounts describe this legendary specimen as having a strikingly thick planchet, something that would suggest it may not have been struck on a standard penny blank at all, but on a foreign coin blank that somehow found its way into the minting machinery, an error that has occurred in rare instances when blanks intended for other currencies or denominations became mixed into the wrong batch, creating coins that defy expectations and sell for staggering prices. And when you combine all these possibilities into one extraordinary piece, you begin to see why collectors whisper about this coin with a mix of awe and excitement, because a double denomination error alone is incredibly valuable. An off-center strike on top of that makes it even rarer, and a brokerage impression pushes it into the territory of once-in-a-century mistakes. But the story becomes even more compelling when people claim that this coin may also exhibit a dramatic die clash error, where the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, imprinting each die's design onto the opposite side and leaving ghost-like shapes and outlines in places where they do not belong, creating a mysterious and visually striking effect that collectors love. And when all of these errors are rumored to appear together on the same coin, it becomes easy to understand how a myth of extreme value begins to form, because in the world of numismatics, rarity is not just about quantity, it is about impossibility, about mistakes that theoretically should never happen simultaneously. And when multiple layers of errors converge onto a single coin, it becomes something that transcends normal valuations, something that makes people imagine that the right buyer, perhaps a museum or a private collector who loves unique minting errors, might indeed be willing to pay tens of millions for a coin that literally exists nowhere else in the world. But alongside the physical errors, collectors also speculate on other contributing factors that elevate the value of this particular penny, such as the possibility of unexpected toning patterns formed through unusual exposures during storage or circulation, where the copper surface develops colors ranging from deep blues to purples to fiery golds. A phenomenon that has caused otherwise ordinary coins to sell for thousands due to their beauty and uniqueness. And when you pair rare toning with mint errors, the result becomes something even more desirable, a visual masterpiece created by pure accident. And then there are the stories about this coin being found in unbelievably high grade despite its errors, a situation that seems contradictory yet not impossible, because sometimes error coins are removed from circulation quickly due to their odd appearance, preserving much of their original mint luster. And if a coin with legendary errors also happens to be in nearly perfect condition, its rarity multiplies dramatically, contributing even more to its astronomical valuation. And beyond the specific errors and conditions, people also love the mystery and excitement surrounding coins like this, because they remind us that even in a world where billions of pennies are produced every year, extraordinary things can still slip through unnoticed. Treasures can still hide in plain sight, and something worth millions might be sitting quietly in a jar, a drawer, or the bottom of a pocket, waiting for the right person to discover it. And that sense of possibility is what drives collectors, inspires treasure hunters, and keeps the fascination with rare coins alive generation after generation. And the myth of the $66 million 2002 D penny remains one of the most compelling examples of how stories, speculation, and imagination blend with the fascinating science of minting errors to create legends that capture global attention. Because whether this specific coin officially exists or remains part of the mysterious world of numismatic folklore, the idea itself continues to spark curiosity and excitement, encouraging people everywhere to check their change a little more carefully, to pay attention to the small details others might overlook, and to dream of the day they might be the person who finds the impossible coin, the one-in-a-billion treasure that transforms an ordinary moment into the discovery of a lifetime. And in that spirit, the story of this rumored $66 million penny serves as a reminder that sometimes the most extraordinary things come from the most ordinary places, and that the thrill of the hunt is just as valuable as the treasure itself.